Hi guys, I'm now doing task 10.10. This is a task on the weighted average method of inventory valuation. So far we've done specific identification, FIFO, and now weighted average. If you look in your textbook from page 416 to 418, there is an illustrative example using milk bottles, etc., which you can have a look at. We're doing task 10.10 now. Okay, so task 10.10. We're doing information for, we've got the information for the month ended 31st January 20.8. So that means we're just doing these calculations for a month. In 10.10.1, we have to calculate the cost of sales using the weighted average method. Okay, now in order to calculate the cost of sales, okay, remember our calculation for cost of sales in order to calculate our cost of sales, we need our opening stock, our purchases, and yes, our closing stock. So I'm actually going to do 10.10.2 first, where we calculate the value of the stock using the weighted average method. So this is actually 10.10.2. We'll be doing that first, and then obviously we'll do 10.10.1. Okay, now when doing the weighted average method, the weighted average means that the closing stock is valued at an average. Now, in order to calculate the average, this formula that I put up here is very important. Okay, now this is not kind of formula that you get in your answer sheet because it's just a calculation formula. So you need to know how to do it yourself. So we calculate the weighted average price per unit. In order to get that, we say total amount divided by total quantity. And the total amount, you're going to take the rand value of your opening stock plus your purchases minus returns plus carriage plus import duties. So on the top, you need the rand value. At the bottom, we need the quantity. But the quantity will be opening stock plus purchases minus returns, or minus any drawings or donations, etc. Carriage, import duties, etc. do not affect the quantity, so we do not use it at the bottom. Once we have calculated this weighted average price per unit, we just take that and multiply it by the quantity of closing stock. So we're doing 10.10.2. We first have to calculate the quantity of closing stock, as that has not been given in the question. Remember, in order to calculate the quantity of closing stock, we use the same calculation that we've done for specific identification and also for FIFO. So we can start with the quantity of opening stock. Okay. To that, we'll add on the quantity of purchases. We'll subtract the quantity of sales, and that will give us the quantity of closing stock. So the quantity of the opening stock is 20 units. The purchases, okay, 130 units. And the manner in which I got 130 units was, we said, just took all the purchases, which is 60 units plus 40 units, okay, plus 30 units. Okay, that's all from the question. Okay, and then we subtract sales. Sales were 90 units. Okay, and that would give us the answer of 60 units. Okay, once we have this here, now this you would have done the same whether you were doing any valuation method. We now calculate the weighted average price per unit. Now, if you look at my formula above, I said it's the total amount, which is the rand value, divided by the total quantity. Okay, the total amount of the opening stock, and then the total quantity, right? Okay, let's move this up. Okay, I'm just going to do some calculations here quickly. This was the opening stock was 20 units at 18 rand, which gave us 360 rand. We had one lot of purchases, 60 at 20 rand, which gave us 1,200. Another lot of purchases, 40, 30 rand, gives us 1,200. and then 30 units purchased at 35 Rand gives us 1050. Okay, so I'm just going to add up this, so that gives us 3450, and that's actually the figure that we're going to use here on the top when we say opening stock plus purchases. So it's normally opening stock plus purchases minus returns plus carriage and all of that. But this question is a simple question. It doesn't have carriage, it doesn't have returns, etc. So which is opening stock plus purchases, right? So remember, this was our opening stock here. Okay, and all of these together for the purchases, 60, 40, and 30. Okay, so in total we've got 3450. Okay, sorry, opening stock is 360. Okay, that's that. And then purchases, the total purchases would be 3450. So 360 plus 3450 divided by the quantity. Now the quantity of opening stock was 20 and the quantity of the purchases was 130. So there we go, right? You could have used the totals already. So we could have worked out totals instead. I just wanted to show it to you. And now all we have to do is calculate. So we get 3810 on the top and 150 at the bottom. And now we work out the average. So the average, weighted average price per unit is 25 Rand 40. Now the value of closing stock. Look at the stock calculation. We have 60 units in closing stock. Each unit will be multiplied by the weighted average price per unit, which is 25 Rand 40. And you get an answer of 1,524. Okay, now we can go back to 10.10.1 to calculate the cost of sales. Okay, so the value of the opening stock. Okay, remember that was it was 20 units times 18 Rand. I did do this calculation above, okay, which gave us 360. The purchases value, okay, remember, sorry, it was just these three figures added up, which gave us 3450. Okay, so we're going to put that in here. Oops, sorry. 3450. The closing stock, which just worked out above now, always in brackets, so minus 1524. And we work out the answer of cost of sales, 2,286. 10.10.3, we have to calculate the gross profit. So we're just going to take sales. 90 units were sold at 45 Rand. Okay, you can show calculation. So 90 times 45. Our cost of sales, we just worked it out above. That will give us gross profit. Okay, so that's all there is to this question. What I want you guys to realize is that under any inventory method, the quantity of closing stock is calculated in the same method. The cost of sales is calculated in the same method. And the gross profit is calculated in the same method. The only thing that changes is the value of closing stock. So under specific identification, each item was identified and the cost price was allocated to it. Under FIFO, we valued the closing stock at the latest purchase price. And now with weighted average, the closing stock is valued at an average price. Okay, so when we're doing comparison questions, obviously you'll see that better. That's all for this question. Bye.